All right. All right. Video is pretty choppy. I'm not gonna lie. It's not moving too badly, but I can see where it's pretty choppy. All right. Winging it. This is kind of just an introductory show. Audio is all you really need, anyways. We're gonna try this from here. Take two. We're live. It's action time. It's going to be choppy, so bear with me. If you at least hear the audio, you're good. I'm fine with that. Worst case, if I ever go back and edit this episode, we'll just go and figure it out from there. So here we are, night one, Ocean City coverage. Joey Blaze live from his hotel room here in Culpeper. Here for another evening, and then I'll be out of here by about sometime tomorrow afternoon. Who knows at this point? Busy day at work. Appreciate all of you for coming out here this evening and watching the show. If it's choppy, sorry. Not much I can really do. We had a good connection last night, but I can imagine it don't help if people are possibly on Wi-Fi. In fact, let me get up and see if maybe that's fixed. I do got my phones connected to Wi-Fi. We're good. All right. Let's try this out. I don't know if it's going to work or not. I hope it does. Anywho, let's get to it. Ocean City tournament, that's coming up this weekend. Really excited about that. Had to go make sure that phone was off. So here we go. Glad for it to happen. It's been a long time, man, since we had the Ocean City tournament. Last time we did was 2019. Those of you who were watching earlier, I'm sure had a glimpse of that. The documentary we did on it. Great footage out there by both myself, Monet Anderson, Jerome Russo, and James Sayers. We're going to have great media again out there in Ocean City coming up. Really looking forward to it. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at these games real quick. Don't see a request to join the call yet. If you want to, feel free to click the comments. Skinny, I'm glad to hear the news on St. Louis. I talked to Twan G last night about it. They said they just had a captain's meeting yesterday down there. So the Lou be kicking off in May. Also got the news that the Wolfpack, who won the championship, they're heading over to A bracket ball for Atlantic City. We'll have more on that in just about a few weeks. Really excited about that tournament. I'm just happy to be back in flag football, man. It's been way too long since nationals. I'm just glad to be here. Let me take a look at the bracket real quick. Just got an alert from one of my guests. He is back. Let me see. Let me type to him real quick. I'm going to go ahead, look at it. This is the matchups we got. Let me first talk about the different teams. Going to start in the B bracket going across. You got the Dirty Birds. They're in it. I've heard they're based out of New Jersey. I'm not 100% certain about that. If so, awesome, because it's cool to have a team travel from up there, come down here. I have heard some things about them, but not enough to really form any actual opinions on what they can be. Of course, you got Rampage as well. They're going to be in it. We're really looking forward to seeing Rampage. Again, we just had them in Owens Mills yesterday. They got a big win on the Misfits. A lot of momentum for Rampage entering the tournament. Let's see how they do. 717 Elite. They're based out of the YAFFL. I expect to see some Gusto Land primetime guys on that team. YAFFL, York Hanover, they're trying to grow 9-man there. It's starting to catch on a good bit, especially in an area where you take a look at it, 9-man flag is growing in a community where they got about close to 1,000 players in the YAFFL. So they definitely have a chance to make something happen down the road, if not very, very soon. L&D Bulls, we just had them last week at LMFFL. They had a tight game with the Titans. They are a first-year team. Some of their guys, I think, came from the 410 Ravens last year. So let's see how they do. Looking forward to it. They had a tight game with the Maryland Titans a few weeks ago in Owings Mills. We had that game live. It was a good one. Looking forward to seeing how they do in this one. And then you go across, you got FOE. They had a very surprise performance at Nationals. They got to day 3, and they looked sharp doing it. They were doing some excellent work out there. Really looking forward to it, as well as this guest we got on. Those of you who've watched my show for years, you know this guy very, very well. Those of you who've been on the circuit for years, you know this man very, very well. We last saw him about a year and a half ago on the field. Off the field, he's been working hard to make this tournament happen. Got to give props to him and how he does this tournament every year. It's always a fun one, man. It's a get together. It's a gathering. It's a fun time. Welcome to the show, Mr. Andy Hoffman.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Glad to have you on. It's been a while, man. It's been a while since we've had a tournament from you, sir. It's been a long time, almost 2 years. I believe you went halves with Jamie on Virginia Beach back in 2019. So this is the first true blue Andy Hoffman tournament since the 2019 OC tournament. Hard to believe, man. 2 years since the last one already.
Last year shut down everything for everybody. So it's not exactly, unfortunately, we're all in this boat together. So that's the way it sort of worked itself out. And we're definitely trying to work our jumping through hoops to be able to get to everything else, to be able to go through, have everything be able to run again. So they definitely haven't made it easy as far as when it comes to government organizations trying to give us opportunities to play.
And it's been very hard, as you've seen here in the state of Maryland, for some teams, leagues to get off and trying to get facilities. As you all know, Southern Maryland, they're still shut down. They're having a vote on Thursday to reopen the parks and talk about that. Hoping for those guys down at Maffle to get some bumps soon in league play. I know they're going to be represented at Ocean City. We were just on the topic of talking about teams, Andy. We were looking through the B bracket. We mentioned Dirty Birds. I think they're out of New Jersey. Can you verify that 100%?
Yes, sir. They're out of Atlantic City. Brian's been a great. Yeah, Brian's been a great supporter of flag football for a while, so he's always been our help to be able to get everybody be able to play in Atlantic City.
All right,
he and his guys. His guys are awesome there.
All right, sweet. I like that. Rampage. Everybody knows Rampage by now. 717 Elite, I mentioned, they came out from the YAFFL. We talked about how they're trying to build 9-man over there and get that going. We actually had, I believe they're going to have some of the guys up on from Prime Time and Gusto Land appearing on there. Looking forward to seeing them. L&D Bulls, I mentioned, they're a restarted franchise. Some of them were on the 410 Ravens last year playing. Going down the bracket a little further, FOE, they had a great performance over at Nationals. That was the best I felt they looked all year in 2020. They got to the Sweet 16 on day 3, made a big statement in that tournament. Maryland Venom, they're going to come out playing tough. They've gotten better over the last year and a half or so. That team has really grown a lot. Looking forward to seeing how they come out and play against FOE and what will be a rematch, actually, of last year's playoffs in LMFFL. You got the X-Dogs. They're coming back. I'm happy about this one, Andy. The X-Dogs are back. It's been a long time, but we're seeing them on the circuit again. Matt Eisenberg and company. And I tell you, man, I've always given you love for how you made the schedules and league play. I like this matchup. X-Dogs, Blackhawks, Tommy Lightfoot, Matt Eisenberg. You got 2 longtime veterans. That's about at least close to 40 to 50 years, give or take, of experience on the field coming out there, and they're going to duel it on Saturday. over at the Baptist School, 11:30. Looking forward to that game. Um, X-Dogs, they play in Washington County. Your impressions on the Dogs being back out there on the circuit?
Well, X Dogs have been come to Ocean City every year, so they always know what they're getting in for. They're they did a couple years ago. I gave them a game that wasn't before noon, and they didn't know what they said. It was the first time that ever happens with, because they're used to playing first thing in the morning, and they basically come down. And it's a family trip for them. So I'm happy that as far as being back on the circuit, I'm happy they're back at Ocean City. Matt's retooling with his guys because honestly, he's at some point or another, you sort of your team grows up and other priorities start to take over, and he's at that spot right now that his team has become more mature, and now he's starting to replace them. He's got kids coming out, and the next generation is being the next ones who come through.
More mature, so.
It's crazy to think, Andy, so many players are now joining 9-man flag football as a whole that were not even alive or just born when the X-Dogs started in 2002. We mentioned this is their 20th season this year. So far, I've seen them up in Shippensburg. They've looked great. I think they're going to bring it come Ocean City. They're a very underrated squad that not a lot of these teams out here from the DMV or even on the circuit even know about unless they were there. And the X-Dogs, when they came up and won Ocean City, I believe that was 2013. I think they won it twice, actually.
Joe, you got to remember, but all of the DC and the Baltimore teams they used to all come up to Hagerstown. They've all gone down to Ocean City. We know each other. There's always going to be vets
I'm speaking, of course, Andy, more so on the recent teams that have come around that haven't had a glimpse of X-Dogs.
The new teams, it's all going to, X-Dogs are going to be a surprise for some of them, and we're all competitive, so it's going to be an interesting way. I'm just happy that we've got enough teams that nobody has to play anybody from home.
Yeah, and I think and I like that. I'm glad to see that happen because, it always sucks when you end up going out there and playing against the same guys you're going to play against either the week before or the next week. You've been there before, of course. It's happened because sometimes brackets end up being small like that.
Well, nobody wants to drive 3 hours to go play the same team that they could play on their same home field. Used to be the same way when it comes to the rest of tournaments, that you don't want to travel and end up playing somebody from home as much as you can. You want to see as many other teams as you could possibly see along the way. And that's anybody who's a competitor wants to see as many teams as you could possibly play.
I agree 100%. And, it's always good out there to get that kind of bump. I think it's a big way to get people to come out and play as well. The idea of not playing guys from your hometown, but rather guys you've never seen before, may have never even heard of before. Like like a couple teams like Long Island Ducks. I know a lot of guys around here haven't seen them play, but they've been doing work up north in the GCFFA and playing in different tournaments. You take a look, Riot Squad. I actually saw them in nationals. They looked really good. I think they're out of Connecticut. Am I correct on that, Andy?
I believe Riot Squad is either Connecticut or Rhode Island.
Okay, so they're very far up north up there. Okay. We saw them. They have an excellent defense. I really like the way they play defense. They played Rob Lane and the Blazers very well at nationals. Just didn't have the offense to win it. Looking forward to their game with X-Dogs. Going down the bracket further, Baez Auto, they were the runner-up. I'm still on the right side, by the way, if there's wondering. Been looking there the whole time. They were the runner-up at Ocean City. We just saw that a few minutes ago in that documentary in 2019. They're always up there, a perennial top 10 team in the B bracket. They're going to have the Tri-State Spartans, Don Brown and company. They're going to be traveling for the first time. Really proud of them, man. It's really good to see a team like them. Those guys get a chance to go out. I know the name is Tri-State, but they got about 90% of their guys from the state of West Virginia. And I'm really happy to see that state represented in that tournament. I think it's really good for the growth of the game. And I think it's really good for those guys to get that experience. And I can't think of a better tournament than Ocean City because you said it for years. This is a great tournament to play in. I've loved it when I went there in 2019. I'm planning on having just as much fun as that year as I am this year. But really happy for Tri-State to get in. It's good to see them get out there. Maryland Titans, they've always been in the thick of things. They got Doc now. They've been looking a lot better the last couple of months since that addition. Looking forward to seeing them out there. Affiliate Nation, they're the defending Ocean City champions. They're going to go out there. They're going to fight hard. They're always going to bring it. Bad Boys, that's the merger of Renegades and some of Aftermath. That's going to be an interesting team to watch. They were A originally. They dropped to B, however. But I feel like they're going to be a really fun team to watch in this tournament. I watched Jaleel all year, their quarterback play, and he's done an excellent job. Brick Squad Nation, haven't seen much of them. I think they're out of Rhode Island, correct?
Brick Squad is Rhode Island. Connecticut. Riot Squad is Connecticut, by the way.
Okay, Riot Squad is Connecticut. I'm really happy to see those teams from up north come down here and play. It's really awesome to see that. A lot of those teams driving about 6 hours, 5, 7, give or take, to make this journey. Really cool to see everybody come together from different parts of the East Coast. Hopefully we can get the Lou out here sometime to play. Going over to the other Bs.
But I will say this about Ocean City: there's no good place to fly to. So
that is the biggest thing. Flying is a little bit difficult. But I would love to see a lot of guys make this trip, because I always say this is one of those tournaments where it's not just about competition, but it's about fun, because it's in a great area. When the weather is on it, it's a really great time. Plenty of things to do in the city. The family all coming together. I'm really happy for it. You look at the other side of B at Northside Park. Team Petty, they always bring in, man. They're a fun team to watch. Really love watching those guys out there and play. They got Broad Axe. Really happy to see Broad Axe back on the circuit. It's been a long time since we've seen them play circuit ball in general. Really hoping to see how they grow. It's been a bit. A lot of those young players, they're going to get a really good time out there on the field. And I'm happy to see the opponents they got. I think that's a great experience for them, not just on terms of playing football, but being able to have fun as young people going out, because nothing sounds more fun to me than football and the beach when it comes to a weekend.
Don't discount the vets that they got coming too, because Broadax has back. Look, this tournament's been around. I joke around that it's older than Drew, because it is. Beth was pregnant with Drew the first time we ran this thing. So they've got some. We used to have a team from Altoona that used to come down and play over and over again. And the quarterback, Tyler Murdoch, who was the quarterback for AFN 2 years ago when they won the tournament, is coming down to play, along with still having Timmy and everybody else, the young guys that they have. But they have a lot of the vets who are doing this as an excuse to get the Altoona guys are coming down with the Broadax guys, and it's an excuse to get together. They've always sort of matched up and worked together anyway. So they're going to be. Look, they're not coming down here to get their butts handed to them. Nobody expects to come down here and lose. So the vets are coming down. They're not going to let themselves. They're going to make themselves competitive. They're going to be good games the whole way through this.
I agree 100%. And with that development you just mentioned, Tyler Murdoch coming down, that's a huge pickup for Broadax, especially after the work he put in for AFN back in 2019 in that tournament. They averaged 21 points per game in about 6 games that weekend. He had at least 3 plays that were 90-plus yards for touchdowns. He was on it all weekend. He balled out, man. Really looking forward to seeing him back with Broadax. It's been almost 3 years, hard to believe, since we seen Mert out there in that classic Broadax blue, gray, and yellow. But I'm really happy to hear that. Really looking forward to seeing those guys this weekend. We'll have that game for you when they take on the Long Island Demons, who are making their return to travel. It's been a while for them. We last saw them at Nationals last year, or Worlds, I guess. And they were off. I think COVID was an issue with them last year, kind of kept them out of nationals and playing much ball. We're looking forward to seeing their return. So you get two teams returning in the form of Demons and Broadaxe. Looking forward to seeing them play. Broadaxe, of course, they've had bump in Washington County. They definitely are a team to look out for. Shout out to them for the big comeback they made yesterday on the Spartans. That nice little circuit matchup breaking out there in county. Really looking forward to seeing how they grow this season. Take a look at the Killer Bees. They're coming in for the very first time on the circuit. They have played before in a tournament, but not a tournament like this. The competition here is just going to be insane. This is going to be a big, different experience for those guys coming from Shippensburg all the way to Ocean City, especially with a team like Team Petty. We're going to have more on that Wednesday night when we break down the matchups, but it's going to be different than how it is up in Ship. Taking a look at the A teams in this as well. You got the Strong Island Bulldogs. They're coming down here. Really happy to hear about that. Really excited to see them back in action. I thought they were very close against the Punishers back in the semifinals and nationals. Looking forward to seeing how they rebound coming to this tournament. They got the No Mercy Scorpions, Greg Proctor and company. They're going to finally get their shot with Greg playing in A again after he missed nationals. Really looking forward to seeing how they come out and play with this squad. We had them yesterday. It's a little shaky, but we'll see how they do. High Rollers, they almost got main event in that semifinal back at national, or quarterfinal rather, back at nationals. Very close at the end. Matt Bailey seemingly had a game-winning drive, but it was Mike D at the end, 30 seconds to go with the go-ahead touchdown to send main event to the semis. They were also runner-up at the Corona Classic last year for GCFFA. Really excited to see them back out there. You got Dream. They're a new team, actually. I haven't seen them yet, but from what I hear, they got a lot of young talent on that team. They're making a big jump here from B to A. Your opinion, Andy, is it a wise move to make us jump like that early on? Do you applaud it from a competitive standpoint, or do you think it might be too soon? You think you got to build to A or just jump right in?
Look, they're not. It's funny, they have a bunch of young guys, but they got some old heads that run the team. Darnell's been running this for a long time, and he knows what he's.
Oh yeah, he's definitely got a resume,
So
and I'm happy to see him bring out young guys like that to play, and to bring them in A is huge, especially when you consider Strong Island and Rollers. Whoa, you got two top five teams right there in the country.
But here's the other facts. We're talking about a small A bracket. So the fact is, all you have to do is pull off an upset, and you're in the semifinals.
Yeah, and to me, that's a big confidence booster. If you can get to the semis at the very least,
Win one game on Saturday, and you're in the semis. So, and that's what you're working with, is to be able. You win one game, you're in the semis. Win twice, you're in the finals. That's, then anything can happen. It's any given Sunday for all of this stuff. So whenever you get a chance to do this, I mean, it's I always wish we had more A teams, but I'll be honest with you, and I said this today by text to somebody, one of the captains I was talking to, is there are more tournaments right now. Look, once they took the shackles off of where we were allowed to play and where we weren't allowed to play, there are so many more tournaments that, like, main event isn't playing because Brian's playing. He's got a tournament somewhere else that he's got to play. So, and they're playing different styles, and you've got 5-man, and you've got AFFL style, and you've got this style, and you've got that style, and guys are forced to choose which directions they're going and stuff. So, but under circumstances, somebody's going to win 3 games on Sunday and win $1,200 plus a bid, plus their entry into something else. So that's if you're going to take a shot, this probably is one of those good years to do it.
I agree 100%. I agree. And you mentioned the growth. Flag football has changed very significantly since you took me on my first circuit tournament back in 2015. I bring it up all the time at this point. Virginia Beach, may it rest in peace. What's that?
We joke around about that tournament. There was I threw a touchdown pass in that tournament against the Blue Chargers to a guy that I had never met before who was wearing a collar shirt underneath the jersey. And we joke around and we called him. I swear to God, I don't remember his name. He was a friend of a guy off another team who said, "Can I play?" And we were short bodies, and hit
It
this kid on
wasn't. It wasn't like Lee's like brother-in-law, was it?
No, it was
I remember Josh tried playing, and I was thinking, did that happen?
It was the cousin of one of the guys off Metro Dogs that didn't have his
Okay.
own spike and honestly put one of our jerseys over top of his collar shirt. And we hit him and we've got video of him catching a touchdown pass. I have no idea who that dude is. I appreciate the fact that he scored a touchdown pass, but it looked a little funky to watch it.
He was wearing khaki shorts.
Well, no, his friend played in jean shorts that day. That was another weird day, But we were, tournament play is different because there are times when you're just searching for enough bodies that you can survive. And there are times when, you make new friends by going and playing a tournament. We had a chance, and that same tournament, we had a chance to beat speed kills, and we dropped 2 passes down the field in the last drive that would have given us a chance to take a lead.
I'm gonna say, I remember we actually came out very competitive in that tournament. Like, I didn't feel like we got absolutely destroyed. We played very well for what we had. Like, that was a very, very makeshift team. And we managed to put together a good fight. We all had a good time down there at Virginia Beach. The game just really has changed a lot. Like, it's interesting when I think back to that experience I had 6 years ago with you and the Knights.
Joey, that's the most you ever played that's the most you ever played in a single game, and you did it the whole way through the weekend.
That's actually a true fact. It's the most bump I've had in any game in the history of my football career. I think you had me on about 30 to 40 snaps in that one, and I was just
over our 3 games. I think you had 25 or 30 snaps, and yeah, it was an interesting weekend. Let's go with that.
I think I remember one of my favorite quotes from you was when you had me, Paul, Allen, and Lee on the line, and you looked at one point and said, "We really got all survivors on the line, do we?" Shout out survivors.
Yeah, but that's what it is. You figure out ways to be competitive. We had guys playing both ways. We had guys. It was a good weekend.
Yeah, I loved it, man. It's just amazing just watching how it's all grown in the last 6 years. Crazy how this journey's going. Finishing up on the A teams, Elite Rebels, they're going to make the jump from B to A. It's a tough one with them. They definitely could come out and play, but I feel like they might be a little over their head. I don't know. We'll see. They got a lot of guys who have A experience. Don't get me wrong. They definitely have that potential. They're going to be at quite a measuring stick with the Lions early on, though. That's a really good game. Looking forward to seeing the Lions out there. Glad to see them make the trip down here from Rhode Island. Shout out to them. Rest in peace, Sev. Glad to have them come here. We also got Misfits. They got a lot of guys coming from the 4th state. They should be locked and loaded. 148 Outlaws, of course. They're an interesting team. They made the jump from B to A for nationals this year.
Joey?
Their defense was very competitive. They definitely came to play defense.
I got breaking news for you.
You got breaking news.
I got breaking news for you.
Is it bad news or good news, Andy?
Unfortunately, it's bad news, but we're going to be making an adjustment into the A bracket tomorrow because 148 Outlaws had a COVID breakout on their team.
Oh, no.
So making the trip.
Oh, no.
I do appreciate the fact that they were upfront with everything, and I would rather have it be like that instead of the option of somebody comes down and risks it and risks everybody else along the way. But unfortunately, it means that I've got to sort of adjust some of the schedule a little bit. I will also go back to the idea that right now that means we're going to have 7 teams in the A bracket, and somebody's still leaving with $1,200 plus a bid into a tournament. So, unfortunately, this is the world we live in, and when COVID comes around, and that's the way things have to work themselves out. So we have nothing has changed as far as from my end, except for we'll have to do a slight schedule change and adjust some things to be able to make sure that everybody plays. Everybody will get their full games on Saturday. The good part is, that pool that we already had a group of 4 teams in it anyway, so it means Elite Rebels will be playing Misfits, so that way everybody plays their 2 games on Saturday.
So we're looking at the only change being Elite Rebels would play Misfits, Lions would play Rebels, and Misfits play Lions.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the adjustment that just got made. Andy confirmed the news. What's that?
The only thing I haven't been able to do is the times, because I'm trying to adjust the times so we're all off the field by the last kickoffs are all at 6:15. I want to do my best to get everybody off the field so that way you get to enjoy Ocean City a little bit, and then we'll build from there.
I understand 100%. Man, it's sad to hear about that. I really hope their players are okay, and I'm hoping it's something that's isolated between a few and not just a whole team got hit with it. It's scary. We got to be very careful out there. We should probably talk about it. What are any of the COVID restrictions we should be aware of, if any, down there at Ocean City? What rules should we follow? What should we know about this tournament before we pull up to either field on Saturday?
First thing, the bleachers aren't going to be there. Bring your own chairs. I mean, everybody tends to bring their camp chairs everywhere they want to go to anyway. So bring your own chairs so that way you have them available for you. We don't have to do that as a cleaning thing. The benches probably will be there, but the big bleachers aren't going to be there this year. When we do sidelines, we're going to ask that obviously during the game we've had, when we had down in Florida, we had the 6-foot restriction area. So that means stay back off the sidelines. So that way you're not sitting right next to the referees. So
Gotcha. And we just got Cat just joined the call.
Gotcha. The other part is when we do sidelines, you're still going to be able to work your way 6 feet off the sidelines, still be able to work your way back and forth up and down the sidelines just like you normally do. But we're going to ask you, basically, if you go, we're going to have home bases that go between the 20 and 40 on each sideline. So if the team that's, you get there for your game, you're early for your game, the team that's already playing is going to have all their stuff between one of the 20s and 40s on that side, half of the sideline. You take the other 20 to 40 on your half of the sideline. We want to do our best to try to keep. We're going to obviously intermingle on the field. We're going to obviously intermingle as we pass each other and use bathrooms and stuff like that. And obviously the bathrooms are still going to be open, and the porta potties are still going to be there. All that's still going to happen. But we're just going to ask that you stay with your team, because honestly, you're spending your time with your team down in Ocean City anyway. We don't want to have it where 2 teams are mixed together between the 40s. We're going to try to keep that space between the 40s to be sort of open ground to try to socially distance as much as we can. We are not going to require you to wear a mask, but we do recommend, the CDC says wear them whenever you're around people. Obviously, we're outside. It's not going to be a restriction from the state or anybody else at this point, but we do recommend following CDC. Protect yourself and others. If you're going to be close to anybody, wear a mask. We will have hand sanitizer there on every sideline. That way, when you come off the field, that's an option to you. But it's, we still have our limitations are our limitations. You're just, we are asking everybody, as we've done the waiver system, and the questions are already there in the COVID. If you have any symptoms, if you've been around anybody who has been diagnosed as being COVID positive, please stay home. I want you all there, but I have too many friends that aren't here anymore. And I don't want it to be that there's no reason for us to lose a friend over a weekend. Even though it's a great weekend, there's no reason to lose anybody that way. So if, when we have those possibilities, if you're not sure, stay home. Hotels are being pretty good about it most of the time. Being pretty good about it, about canceling and things like that because of it. we're going to do the best we can to make sure that we're still have those options as well. Other than that, with the waiver system, I've given the option that if you want to be notified if there's if there's a positive case, so we can do contact tracing. We do have the ability, where you can give me your email or your phone number. I don't use that information for anything else. I can't hear you, buddy. I don't use that information for anything else. But we have it there, so that way, if there needs to be contact tracing, we can contact trace. But we're here to play football, and it looks, I want it to be where we come back next year in April and there are no restrictions whatsoever. I am happy to, I know that everybody has their own feelings about vaccinations and stuff like that. I know I feel much better knowing that I've had my vaccinations done. My wife has, my eldest has, and Drew's already got his first shot. So my co-manager over here beside me will be down keeping scores, live feeding, picking up trash, and everything else that goes with it. Because if you're a tournament directors, those are all parts of our jobs. But we'll be, we look forward to being safe but still being able to see people. He asked me earlier I asked him earlier what he looks forward to with Ocean City, and he said, we went to Florida and we saw maybe half the teams. Now we get to see everybody. So, and that's a pretty good deal.
I think that's a great deal. I'm glad we're seeing everybody again. Welcome to the show, Mr. Kent Page. Glad for you to join us tonight. Gentlemen, we're glad to have you both here. Let's talk about some memories. We just talked about this tournament. Let's talk about the tournament over the years. Can you give any insight to the history of Ocean City? When did it all begin? Whose idea was it?
Andy.
Andy.
It was Andy's. 100%. When I first started, when I was just playing, Ocean City was, we didn't do Atlantic City. We didn't do North. So Ocean City was pretty much the first tournament that kicked off after Nationals. So, I mean, that was always, the kickoff of the tournament season. And
we used to have 4 tournaments a year. There was Nationals in Florida. There was Virginia Beach. There was the Maryland State Tournament that originally would float around between where you would play Saturday at each home league location, and then Sunday they would alternate and you go to one of 4 spots.
Right. It's funny you mentioned that. I actually have footage of a game from the 1997 Maryland State Tournament played over at Edmondson High School in Baltimore between my dad's team, the Hammers, who representing Washington County, against the Chiefs.
I played against Alvin Walton and Vernon Dean back in 1993 at the state tournament. And they had 7 or 8 guys who had been coming off of NFL contracts. I was 19 and didn't know a damn thing. And that was just the way it worked. My dad was playing. But so honestly, every year we would have there were 3 tournaments a year. There was a state tournament. There was Virginia Beach, which at that point was 8-man ineligible. And then there was Florida. And that was it.
Man ineligible. Was it basically just 9-man with 1 less receiver, or was there other rules to it?
There were some really weird rules with 8-man. You had a full rush.
There was zippies.
You had a 2 count. Okay, so the referee would be like 1 count, 2 count before you could rush. You got 1 blitz per 4 down. I mean, per series of downs. It was crazy.
I think they have something like that up in Long Island. I was watching a game like that last year that my colleague Jerome Russo was doing up there, and it was very similar to what you just described.
It's different, and then it's like, well, it's a running play, so it's not a blitz. It's we only ran because you blitzed. I mean, my gosh.
They also sometimes played on an 80-yard field.
Yep.
So you
20,
had
40, 20.
Yep, you had adjustments that you had to make because the rules were a little different because you were playing on a short field. It's not. Look, you don't reinvent the wheel with a lot of things that happen. So as we've gone through these processes along the way, we've seen just about everything.
80 yards long, 40 yards wide.
The first
So basically, Kent, the Clash of York one field.
Yes, the Clash of York. Yes, that brought me back. Yes.
Good times, Kent. Good times up there.
19 years ago, I took over the Maryland State Tournament and made it the Hagerstown Tournament. 18 years ago, we started Ocean City, and we started with 9 teams. The first year we had one team that had 13 guys, and 7 of them got arrested for public drunkenness and didn't play on Sunday.
Oh my God.
Awesome.
Drew.
Oh man.
Well, and at that point, this was before Facebook. We had the Real Deal Message Board, which had multiple personalities from different guys because you didn't have to sign in under your own name.
Yep.
They basically, when I started with 9-man 18 years ago, or 19 years ago, they told me 9-man was dead. And so if you want to try to run 9-man, go ahead. We'll give you all the opportunities. And that was Jay Jones with the MCFFU. And I did work with them for 2 years. And then I went independent for 10, something like that. And honestly, right now, all of our tournaments are independent, but we work together on stuff because we partner on different things because it makes sense.
All family.
But yeah, the first tournament I ran, there were 9 teams in it, including some of the big hitters out of Warriors AC. Coleman Clan played. George Coleman and Coleman Clan played. The DC Dolphins played. The Baltimore Packers and the Metro. That was the Metro Chiefs.
It was Chiefs then.
And then it Dogs.
I mean,
and every year, and since then, every year we played on one field. We played on just the main field. We didn't use the lagoon field. We played everything on one field. And then the next year we split up and I think we had 12 or 13. First 3 years, I don't think we got more than 13 teams. And then we got to the point where it's like, ooh, this is actually worthwhile to play. And we added the B bracket. The B bracket grew us faster than anything else. And every year we've been like 8. When we had one field to work with, it was 8 and 11, 8 A teams and 11 Bs. Pretty much.
And that's about the same. And that's about the same time that, because we were still NBFFA at that point. We would give a team off to go play if they requested it, but the league still ran. And then when it started to grow, it was like, guys, we're just going to shut down the league to encourage teams to go to Ocean City. And that's honestly been a huge thing because you got the chance to go play people outside your league. And Andy has always done very well with that. Andy has always had the ideas to, if you play team A and team B on Saturday, even if you do everything on the breakdown on points and all that, and you're going to play team B again, no, we're going to have you play team C. Right. So it really an opportunity. You're going to play at least 3 different teams going to Ocean City. Right. After that first round on Sunday, hey, it's how it falls. And I think that has also helped grow.
Well, the biggest thing, I always looked at it like the NCAA tournament. And it's funny because I do multiple different, I ref and coach and different things in different sports. And I always looked at it like the NCAA tournament is they will move a conference team up or down a line in order to avoid a matchup within their own conference.
Right.
Because you don't want to have Syracuse, you don't want to have North Carolina play Duke in the second round. It makes no sense. So you want to be able to play somebody from someplace different. So they always moved them up or down a line. And I still maintain, I know I drive some people crazy with this every once in a while, that look, if it's the difference between one team is minus and one team is +6 and the other team is +5, how much of a difference is it to really just switch those teams so that both the teams get to play a third new team?
Right.
And that way you get to play somebody new on Sunday, because think about it this way: you go 1-1 on Saturday and you lose to Team A, and the first team you play on Sunday is Team A again. The only thing
No
you've
fun.
proven is you can't beat Team A.
Oh,
So why you want to play somebody else and find out how you stand versus the rest of the field rather than, it's a bad matchup for me. I don't want to lose. I don't want to play.
and I fully believe that the majority of teams appreciate that. There's always a few naysayers, always a few that'll be like, oh, the points are the points, the bracket's the bracket. And it's like, come on, guys, let's not, the game is still recreational at its core. It's still supposed to be a fun game. Yeah, there's money involved and all that other stuff, but it's still supposed to be fun. And that's one thing Oakland City has always been. It's always been a fun tournament.
Well, and this year's are going to be a big change because we're adding a C bracket, and
Right.
the whole big point of adding a C bracket is, there's two parts. One of them is this: with B bracket, we have 20 teams in the B bracket. If you're the 1 seed, you're going to have to. Well, if you're you're the 10 seed, to win the tournament, you have to win 5 games. By the time you get to game 4, your legs are done. Playing a 5th game to try to win a game after that is incredible. It's just attrition then. It's who's got more bodies.
Right.
And that's not cool to me. The second part is this year with 20 teams, somebody's going to end up not having to pay ref fees on Sunday because they're going to advance. They're going to be the best of the 0-2 teams, and they're going to end up in the semifinal of the C bracket, which means they're going to save themselves $60 or $70. Plus, they're going to get a chance to play for $100. Plus, if you think about it this way, if we have 6 teams in the C bracket, you got 4 of them are going to get a win.
Right.
Somebody's going to have to win something. So nobody wants. The worst thing to feel on a ride home at the end of a tournament is to go, we went down there, we paid to play these games, and we won nothing. And now we're going to have it where there's going to be more teams that are going to leave with at least 1 win to at least to have a conversation going home going, well, if we would have done this better or done that better or done anything else better, you're playing for $100 at the end. But you're still playing for something, and it's better than being the team that's eliminated from the morning on Sunday.
I didn't know if you went now or if you want to wait till I come back up.
Yeah. So for C bracket, just so we're clear, 0-2 automatically gets you there. Is there a maximum number of 0-2 teams that can make it, or a minimum? What can we expect for the numbers?
I need to have at least 5 or 6 teams in that bracket, so that way we can run it so everybody gets to play more than 1 game. That's all I'm aiming for. So if we have 5 teams.
Sorry, Andy.
Huh?
Go ahead.
It's gonna if you go winless, you're gonna end up in the C bracket.
Yeah.
If you if you tie both games, I probably will leave you in the B because you haven't lost anything. And we've had that happen before. Don't can't last, but we've had
I know that. I believe me, we've had those discussions. Hey, they haven't lost, but they haven't won either. We've had those discussions, Andy. I know.
You're gonna have to win some. To me, you can't lose both games and still be playing for a chance to win the B bracket at the end.
You know, to me, a tie is a loss in a way, and 2 ties is considered a loss by NFL standards in terms of standings, because by that point it puts you behind the 8 ball a little bit. So I feel like 1 tie isn't bad, but if you have 2, you should go to C. You didn't win. You may not have lost, but you didn't.
I really
win.
hope we don't have to have this discussion. I just hope that
it's like referees. It's like referees talking to the 2-minute warning. I don't want to go to overtime. I don't want to go to overtime.
So what happens if you have like 3 teams in a bracket and they all tie each other? Does that same bracket play again the next morning?
On Sunday, you can't have a tie.
Can't have a tie.
Oh no! I meant like the pool play games. Let's say like Baez, Bad Boy, Spartans all tied each other instead of having a winner.
I have no idea. I'll figure that out with a conversation with Kent, and we'll make it so whatever is best for. The simple answer is whatever's best for the whole group.
Yes.
All 27 teams that we're talking, 26 teams that were 7 teams that we're talking about at this point, because we have to. I've been doing this for a lot of years, and between playing and coaching and running these tournaments and stuff like that, I'm old now, and I admit to that in a heartbeat. As Kent takes his meds,
Yeah.
I want the sport to be done. I want the sport to continue to get better every time, and the only way we get there's things that we have to do to fix it, to make things better, so that way we can get there. And sometimes it means breaking some eggs to make some omelets, and that's where we're sort of at with some of this stuff. We need a C bracket.
Absolutely.
We need to have it where more teams get a chance to play and more teams get a chance to win a game. We need to have it where we have to have possibilities for as many teams as possible.
We want a chance for these teams to play and move forward. If going 0-2, and then it's like, great, we're going to play a game, great, we're going to go up there, show up, and we'll lose our first game at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then we'll be home by noon. This way, okay, look, yeah, you're playing C, so what? Hey, but you're having a chance to play some meaningful games on Sunday. And that's always been the big thing. The games mean something.
I remember the year they made it where that if you went 0-2 in the A bracket, you dropped to the B bracket in Virginia.
Yeah,
Beach.
that was Metro Dogs in Virginia Beach. We did that.
They played me first thing in the morning on Sunday morning. That sucked. But we learned a lesson that time.
Learned a whole lot.
So let's talk about times. So how is the Sunday time structure working if you were to give hypotheticals in terms of when a game should be played for like a C championship or a B or an A? What would your beginning and end time look like?
A and C, nothing's going to start before 9 o'clock. A and C are both going to start at 9 o'clock in the morning. Mostly because I hate mornings and so do you guys. So honestly, there's no point in. I've never learned. There's no real reason to piss off your customer. So that's the first part. A and C are both going to start first thing in the morning on Sunday, and they're going to start at 9 o'clock. C will be playing over at the school. A will be playing on the over at the park. All right, and we will play both of them. Basically, they'll play up through the semis for both of them, and then there will be. For the A's, there's going to be a break between the semis and the final because there's no point in playing 3 games in a row. We want to make it where everybody's at top physical condition, get a chance to get a rest. You get 1 game off and you come right back on and play that. B's will start, by my count, I'm looking at the spreadsheet as we speak. The lower seeds, when we talk about the lower seeds, we're talking about 8, 9, 7, 10 games. Those are going to be probably 10, 15, or 11:30.
What times do you
I
think
sent out the referee schedule. I think the A final should be 3:30ish.
3:30ish. B final should be around 6:15, I think.
Well, A and B.
That was the original one with the fact that, and I hate the fact that 7-point spread had to drop, and I hate the fact that now we're going to have 148 that's going to have to drop, and I'm going to adjust again.
Okay.
I think we've got it now that which by the way, I found that out about an hour and a half ago. So I've been playing with schedules since then. By my count, I think that the B final will kick off at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
The A final will kick off at, hold on, let me get my right schedule back up. Hey, you asked for answers. I'm going to give you the exact answers.
Yeah, this year we're doing A first and B closes out, right?
Yes. A final will kick off, by my count, A final will kick off right around 1 p.m. The B final or the C final will kick off, depends on how many teams we end up in it. But by looking at it as we go, I think that the C final will be around 11:30 and the B final will play on the main field at 5 o'clock.
There you go.
So question about, so B and A, will they both be at the park in town?
Everything will end up at Northside Park.
Even the C
good-
championship.
No, the C championship C will play completely over at the school because it's playing the same time as the A bracket, and I can't have two places at once. What we'll do with the B semi, and Drew's watching the basketball game as we go through all this stuff. If you see him refereeing from the background, the basically the B semi at the school will play one time slot before the B semi will play at the park. That way, when the B semi at the school gets done, they have enough time to travel to the park to move up to the main field to play the B final. The last two games of the day at the park will be on the main field, and hopefully, this might be the first time we ever get to play Ocean City without having lights on.
Yeah.
So, from what I've looked at as the schedule goes for Saturday, we're going to kick off at 6:15. Today it was still light out at 8:07.
Yeah.
So I expect that we'll be done and off the fields by 7:30, 7:40-ish. The Ocean City tournament is set up, and those guys, and this is sort of different than some other ones. Ocean City tends to stay on time. We play every hour and 15 minutes. So we've got that going for us, and we never start a game on the 45. So that gives us 15 minutes to even out our schedule to adjust as we go. The other part is on Sunday, we have mercy rules that are in place in the fourth quarter and at the 2-minute warning. And because those are, look, if you're to the point of a mercy rule, we want to make sure everybody gets out of there without any drama or any injuries.
Question about the mercy rule. So how many points for fourth quarter? How many points for two?
34 in the fourth quarter, 17 at the 2-minute.
Okay. Robert Arocho with the Killer Bees wants to know, how would the weather affect the event? Are we rain or shine?
Ocean City has.
Go ahead,
hold
Andy.
on. Ocean City has always been. We use common sense. Okay, they are not going to throw us off the field, but we will shut down if it rains heavily at a time where we'll give a break. We'll do a rain delay as much as we can, so that way we don't destroy their fields. We are the first group that will be on, from an outside group that will be on Ocean City's fields, as far as the Northside Park, every year. They don't start running the field until May 1st. We have been grandfathered in. That's the reason we play the last weekend in April every year. We are the first ones on the field every single year. The other part is, after May 1st, they go to summer rates for hotels. For those guys who always try to beg every year to go, why can't we play this during the summertime? Because the hotel rates triple by the time if you go after May 1st, hotel rates triple. This is the last week of winter rates for the hotels, and you're not going to find $89 and $99 hotel rooms in Ocean City in the middle of May.
Nope.
And in July, you're not getting those same rooms for less than $300.
Yep.
Big racks
per night. So
Yeah.
we do.
And if you ever wonder what the hotel rates are, when you close your hotel room door, there's a card right there. Look at that card. It'll tell you what the rates are. Fenwick Inn can go up to $500 a night.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah.
No wonder my parents stopped taking me there when I was a kid. Glad to go there, though. I'm really looking forward to Ocean City. Recap real quick the times of the championship games for CBA for those who just tuned in or were not listening.
By my count, should be 11:30 for the C bracket ish. It'll either be 11:30 or 1, depending on how many teams are in it.
And that'll be at the Baptist School for those who didn't catch that.
Yeah,
Yep.
we'll be at the school for those.
By the way, for those of you guys at home, if you're trying to MapQuest or Google Maps to get there, look up Baja Amusements. Use that as your thing, and just don't turn into Baja Amusements. If you go straight past it, the school is literally right behind it.
That school is way back there. It's behind like a retail area and everything. You don't see it from the road.
Hi, Bonnie.
Picture?
Yes, I'm showing everybody you.
That Bonnie. Oh,
We're not.
Bonnie.
Yes, I was.
You
Keep
can,
going.
Sake.
you can listen, you can
All
listen
right,
to this
miscellaneous
about-
stuff. What referees do we got coming? Do we for this event?
The best referees available. That's right.
There's plenty of faces you're gonna know. There's some new guys you're gonna get to know as you go through. We've got a good crew that's gonna be down there.
You got the best referees in the
And you
world.
get to see
Joey.
you get to see Ken and Bonnie in plenty of
Uh,
places.
The best referees available are not on the field because I'm just monitoring.
But you're not available.
That's your choice.
Well,
You
when-
said you're not available.
You
That's
are
what-
kicking out of an ocean singing tournament, Bonnie.
I love you, Drew.
I love you too, Miss Bonnie.
I mean, yeah, it's the usual suspects with a couple new additions sprinkled in. All right. So
We
did
just
our
need-
host drop?
Joey,
I
I think we're in charge by ourselves, Ken.
Go.
Wow.
What just
Wow.
happened?
That's kind of weird.
Hey, I'm gonna say this on social media since here he comes back.
Here you go.
I'm gonna say this on social media as much as, and I appreciate our media crew for this weekend. Ben Pennington's gonna be taking pictures.
Go.
Monet is gonna be down there.
Go.
So she did a great job 2 years ago. I asked Nikki, but she's going someplace else already. Joey and his crew will be down there. I'm gonna say it this way. My customers are the ones who are on location. As much as I appreciate as many places as these guys are gonna do, if you're gonna spend your weekend going, where's the live feeds? Where's the live feeds? The live feed is in Ocean City. Drive down and come see us. Okay, because we're there to play football. We will do our best to update the scores. That's part of this young man's job, is going to be doing his updates as we go through. But the fact is, we're invested in the football part. And if you want to be, I take care of my customers, and those are the guys who are standing in front of me at the time. I'll be honest with you. I stop answering my phone on Friday night. I stop answering most of my messages on Saturday night. The schedule will be out when I release it all at once, so that way everybody gets it at the exact same time. And then on Sunday, look, unless the answers I'm answering are football-related questions, and I'm floating back and forth between two different locations.
Right.
So we're here to serve especially for the people that are there to play.
Absolutely.
And that's what we want to be there for. I do my best to make sure I say hi, and I say hi to everybody as I can between the two different locations. Unfortunately, with two different places, it's a little hard to say hi to everybody. But whatever field I'm at, between Kent or Bonnie or me, one of us is going to talk to each team captain on the way out to say thank you for coming. I hope you had a good time. You're going to tell me the refs suck. You are never coming back, and I'm going to say, okay, I'll see you next year, and then we'll do this all again next year. We're here for the guys who play, and we've always, whether you want to believe us or not, I started this tournament so I had a place to go play.
Mhm. And that's honestly why I went. I mean, it was a place to play different teams. I mean, good Lord, I've got so many. Good Lord, I played so many teams at Ocean City. I mean, Unknowns, Raiders, Nighthawks, Assassins, the Assault. I played with Rideout. I played with the Red Knights a couple seasons, out at Ocean City. Oh,
Those were not the good years.
Hey, we had good
Hey.
times.
we had some
Good
good
years.
times. We had some good wins.
Okay, let me clarify. Those were not the good football years. The conversation and the memories were great, but the football, little suspect.
And this is a real unique for this year because we don't have the NFL draft.
Yeah, I'm sort of annoyed with that, but we'll still be
It's all
doing the
right.
draft.
There
We'll be
is-
doing our draft night festivities on Thursday afterwards this year instead of before.
but I also
Somebody-
do believe-
Option.
I also think the Division III football playoffs are this weekend. So round one's this weekend. So we'll get some football in Friday night. Okay.
Ken, I love you, but I don't know if anybody's gonna watch Division III football or look for it. It sounds
North
awesome.
Dakota, North Dakota State, we're gonna watch. Okay.
Is that Division III? I thought that was F.
Is FCS in their playoffs at the moment?
Yep, that's this weekend.
Oh,
FCS
awesome.
33 are playing this weekend.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll watch North Dakota State, obviously, but like D3, I don't know about that.
I mean, come on, you got North Dakota State, we got JMU going. We got a couple. I think the Spiders are in it this year. Come on, we got some local stuff going.
Should be a good time either way. Should be a great time in Ocean City. Andy, you got anything else to add that you should know about for the tournament?
Be prepared for the wind.
Oh,
It's worse
You-
than that look good.
there's a couple things to realize. If you don't like the weather in Ocean City, it'll change within 20 minutes.
See what seconds.
Storms blow through at all times. We'll have stuff that comes off the water.
Good pitch.
We're probably just going to keep playing through it anyway, so just be prepared for that. It's a lot windier at Northside Park than it is at the school. I haven't been to the school in 2 years now, so I will be there on Friday, and I'll take pictures after we get done painting the thing. There are lots of geese that will walk all over the place at Northside Park. I'm glad somebody noticed it in the picture that we had the goose that was in charge. But it's a good time, and come down with what I give the same warnings every year.
We're facing shit.
The police officers drive through the park at Northside Park. If you have alcohol and you're not being smart about it, if you decide to partake in other recreational things, that's between you and the police officer, and I don't bail anybody out, and I can't save you. It is the easiest. There are two ways that we can lose fields. One of them is drug and alcohol use, and the other one is fights. I'm telling you now, if there's a fight, it will be harsh. And
It's gone.
we're to the point now. We already had it where we had a double forfeit, 1-0 game down in Nationals. Guys, people don't want to work with adult sports as much, and then they charge us twice as much to be able to use the same fields rather than kids. My job is to protect every other team. I like everybody who's here. I really do. I like parts of every team. There are always guys that that you aren't friends with, but there's nobody here that I sit there and go, man, I hope that guy gets in trouble. But I'm going to be as simple as I can. I have to protect 27 other teams, and if it means I lose one, probably we've had this before where a team goes, well, that's fine, we're not coming back, and they got replaced by 2 others who said, I'm glad we don't have to deal with their crap anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So understand this. This isn't me making this up. If there's a fight, you probably aren't going to play much anymore that tournament, and it's going to be a national thing because we're going to put it through where Ken and I are in partnership. Robbie Sparks, I'm happy that Robbie and Robbie and Terrell are doing in Owings Mills. Jamie and I talked today. We do this every single time that we compare notes on any situation. So if it's a suspension that comes from my tournament, it's probably going to roll through to everybody else's stuff too. Okay, because we have to do what we can to protect the game and protect the ability to play for everybody else who's around. That's all it comes down to, because I want there to be a league for this guy to continue to be involved in. And the first time that we have a brawl that ends up on the news, we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, if a fight breaks out, fellas, please don't post it on TikTok. I'm just saying, please don't.
Or anywhere.
Yeah, you know.
I know. There's always the people who want to, stir the pot, and things like that. But my thing is, gentlemen, just go out there and play football. Okay, have fun. Okay, in between the white lines, knock each other out. Don't care. Hey, when that whistle blows, hey, go grab a beer. Enjoy the weekend. Right.
I'm just hoping for no injuries and no fights. Those are the 2 things that I hope for every single time we get through it. And I pray that that it doesn't rain hard.
Right.
Because I don't want to hurt our chances to come back every year.
Absolutely.
They'll let us play through the rain this year, and then they'll give me all sorts of restrictions next year.
Right.
That doesn't really work for us. We just got to be smart about it.
You guys are tired.
Yeah. Trying to think. What else do I got in mind? Any other information you want to give out about this tournament?
Andy, are there goalposts over at the school?
Soccer goals.
Soccer goals. Okay.
They've had soccer goals every year. If they don't have soccer goals, we'll have the poles with the string. We've done that before.
I was going to say, do I need to bring the poles?
Depends on what time you're leaving. I'll let you know on first thing Friday morning. If you're coming down Thursday night, bring the poles.
Let me know Friday morning.
Okay.
Trying to think. Food trucks. So we got food trucks.
The concession stand will be open at the park. They charge me for food trucks every time, and I never make back what they charge me. So if you're playing at the park, they've got the concession stand that's going to be open. But especially on Saturday when you're playing, you play either back to back or one game, one off. So you'll have plenty of places around Ocean City to go to eat.
There's a bunch of fast food everywhere.
Yeah, and over at the school, it's right behind the outlets. Chipotle's right there. Applebee's is right there. There's all sorts of stuff right there up Ocean Gateway. So you'll have plenty of things that you can do. If I would recommend bringing your own water and stuff like that onto the field. Please use the trash cans. We have to empty out the trash cans as we go, and most of the time it's the kid in the red sweatshirt who's going to be doing most of that along the way. But between the goat of all time, the goat over here, Drew, will end up being one of our trash guys as we go through. But put stuff in trash cans and we'll empty them out. If a can's about to be full, we have field reps that'll be in different places between the pages, and Drew and me talk to us and we'll flip out a trash can. That's not a problem.
Treat people with respect.
All right.
Francis.
Is the booth going to be open as a cameraman? Just wondering.
Possibly at the park. And that's only really see one field. For the only field you can see is the main field. The other field, you might as well plan on being You're going to be on the grass most of the time, guys.
Oh, I remember that field. I shot X-Dogs and Honey Badgers on that other field.
Right now, it looks like the lows are going to be in the mid-50s and the highs are going to be in the 67, 68 range.
So at Northside, it's going to feel more like 30s as a high.
There's always going to be a breeze.
45.
Yeah.
I was freezing a couple years ago when I went out there. It was 70, but it felt
from someone who rides a motorcycle, once the wind gets to 30 miles an hour, everything feels the same anyways. Okay.
Gotcha. I'm going to love it either way. I'm really looking forward.
I'll say one more thing. Last year, 2 years ago, we ended up, the referees mostly will stay in the Fenwick. There is, from what I've been told, the hotel bar is supposed to be open. The food's pretty good and the bar's pretty cheap. Beer's cold. If you want to hang out with us old heads, that's probably where we'll be.
Yeah, shuffleboard too.
Shuffleboard and pitching golf balls or putting. There was a putting game and stuff like that. It's actually a pretty neat little bar.
Let me how times you lost it.
True.
I've heard good things about the Fenwick. I might just roll up and get myself a drink for my 30th on that weekend.
Oh,
both of the host hotels, by the way, as far as I know, they have officially there is no more block. But if you call and tell them you're with the flag football guys, I have a feeling you're probably going to get away. They may end up giving you the price anyway. We're before anything starts, so they're happy to have us there. Both of the host hotels have indoor pools. Just saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Question wise, I think I'm about out. I don't think I have any other questions to ask regarding this particular tournament. Any memories that you may want to share, fellas, about Ocean City over the years? Andy, you talked about the tournament began in the early to mid 2000 range. Do you happen to have any previous champion winners on hand or anything like that?
I don't have a list. I do know God, we've had so many good teams.
No.
Sorry, back.
Real Deal. I know Real Deal won at least once. I know we had a run the first probably 10 years that nobody won back-to-back years. So we had Metro Chiefs won, Metro Dogs won,
Oh,
but they never won back-to-back. We had the Baltimore Packers won, Real Deal won, and then we've had some great teams. The Lions came down. I believe the Lions came down and won 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
We've made event. We've had the Gladiators win. We've had so many just really good teams and great ball games that go through. So
yeah, I mean it's been the great ball games. I mean it's we normally don't have a lot of big blowouts at Ocean City. It's the biggest memories I have honestly has just been the camaraderie. I mean that's always been the big thing. It's when I was a player, it was just being on the sidelines, seeing everybody again. First time usually after nationals. As an official, I've seen some really unique things happen. I've seen a kick get kicked towards the lagoon, a wind kicked up, and it just stopped that field goal.
Wow.
I mean
I will. There is one rule that we do at Ocean City that we don't do for the rest of the tournaments. We don't force kickoffs because there's not a lot of space around most of these fields. If you kick it out of bounds, it may end up in the water. So we end up skipping a lot of kickoffs and putting the ball on the 30-yard line. It used to be the 35. The new national rule, since I've got the rules director here, is the 30-yard line. We've been negotiating back and forth now for about 15 years, and I finally gave in a little bit, and he gave in a little bit. He wanted a 25, I wanted a 35. We ended up on the 30.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot fewer kickoffs in this. I think that gives it helps, especially with teams that come down shorthanded. That way you don't have to worry about it's a body thing. You don't have to worry about somebody getting injured. There's more injuries on kickoffs and punts than we have on change of possession plays cause more injuries than anything else. So,
yeah, right there, Joey.
but you will be able to kick field goals everywhere you want to go.
Yep. And fake field goals are allowed.
It's got to be the holder.
Well, another question, Ken, to be asked. A lot of people wondering: is a 3-point stance banned on extra?
No, that rule got. That's an old USFTFL rule. The 3 and 4 point stance were not allowed on punts and extra points or field goals. We got rid of that. Okay. Any stance is allowed, a 3-point, a 4-point, and all that. The only restrictions on a kick, on a field goal, or anything like that is the A-gap's closed. You can't bull rush and blow the guard up and slide into the A-gap. Can't do it. Okay, you got to be rolling the B gap. And on a fake field goal, the holder has to initiate it. So the ball can't be snapped right to the kicker. It's got to go to the holder, and either they initiate it or they'll flip it up to the kicker, and all hell will break loose.
Wrong on purpose for the test last year. I hate that rule, but that's not the rule I hate.
Don Brown, head coach of the Tri-State Spartans, wants to know about the onside kick rule. I guess he's asking, are onside kicks allowed, which I'm assuming they are. But he also might be inquiring, Andy, about the 4th and 20 rule that you passed last year in Washington County that we've seen implemented in KFFL as well this season. Will that be an option for an onside kick at Ocean City? Could that be experimented with?
Kent, what is our onside kick rule?
Our onside kick rule for at the national level is inside 2 minutes, the team that is behind has to kick the ball off. The ball has to be returned to the 20-yard line after all penalties. And then if that happens, then the kicking team retains possession at the 50-yard line.
So you say after all penalties.
In other words, if the ball carrier flag guards at the 25-yard line, we're going back 10 yards, ball's at the 15, it's kicking team's ball at the 50.
Oh, I don't think any team's thought about that either. Ooh, be careful, fellas.
Same thing happens with a block in the back or dropping the ball inside the 20.
Yep.
Just things to think of.
Yeah.
We
I guess
have
sorry.
experimental rules along the way that have been administered in later times that have played out of the Washington County League that we use as a testing ground at different points.
I mean, Andy, if you want to experiment with that, I'm open to it.
I'd love to do it. I think it's a better chance to complete an onside kick.
Okay. I have no problem.
Let me explain this for those guys at home who are wondering. Okay, the other option that we started with our junior league football program here. It also was used. What was it?
The AFL.
The AFL started to use this one. Basically, instead of an onside kick, you have put the ball on your own 20-yard line. It is 4th and 20 from your own 20. So you have to get the ball to the 40. If you don't get the ball to the 40, wherever the end of the possession is, where the other team takes over the ball. So if you get sacked in the backfield at the 10-yard line, it's 1st and goal from the 10. If you throw a 19-yard pass, it's 1st and 19 from the 39-yard line.
And if the offense scores a touchdown,
if the offense scores a touchdown, it's a touchdown.
And we saw that back in the Turkey Bowl back in November when FYT converted a 4th and 20, 80 yards, Darren Guzman, Sean Parker for the touchdown. That actually was a big deal. And funny enough, some teams don't realize it's more than just, making sure they don't get to the 40. You got to make sure they don't score. You can't just give up on a play and let it happen.
I mean, I'm fine, Andy, with it. I mean, this is honestly a pretty good crucible to test it out. Okay. It would only be done inside 2 minutes of the second half. And the team doing it.
You've got to be down and you've got to be inside.
Got to be down. Yep. You've got to be behind and you have to be, and it's got to be inside 2 minutes. I don't want to. AFL did it. They could do it at any time, and there were teams that honestly were just they kept possession of the ball for the entire freaking game because they would always do the onside kick, get the 4th and 20, and not going to do that. We'll do it inside 2 minutes. Got to be down, and that may, and honestly, it may even speed the game up a little bit too.
So are we making that official? Is it official? Will 4th and 20 be at Ocean City?
Yes.
Yes.
I like it. I ain't gonna lie. One of the most genius moves to make in 9-man right now is doing that. Kickers are hard to come by in this game. And I do feel like it is interesting. A lot of teams, they don't thoroughly understand that. We saw that with Tri-State in prime time last week. I feel like, though, it's a good way. If they convert that, and even if they score, they deserve it 100%. The team that does do that on offense. I like it. I love it. I think it's going to be great for this tournament to have that rule in effect. And I think it's going to be a game changer for a lot of these pool play games. And I would like to see it implemented throughout the circuit as an option. Because, it's tough to get a kicker. It really is. They're not that easy to come by.
Yeah, but we don't want to remove kicking from the game, though, either. I don't want to penalize a team.
Agree 100%. But, not every team has like a Kyle Marshall kind of kicker or other ones you've seen out there on the circuit. A lot of teams, they don't kick field goals even within the own 5-yard line.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a good crucible. I mean, we're going to have a lot of teams. I'm sure we'll have a couple times during the tournament to see it. And it's going to make a really big impact to it. That's what we've always done this. in Atlantic City a couple years ago, that's the first time we experimented with the shrooms, okay, flags, and that turned out to be a pretty good thing. So Ocean City this year, we'll do the 4th and 20 and see if that, if that works, which, don't see why it wouldn't.
I like it, dude. I like it a lot. I feel like it's good for the game. It's good to have that second option. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'd love to see it come and play at some point this weekend. Overtime rules. Let's clarify on that. What are the current overtime rules, Ken, for 9-man?
Right. There is no overtime on Saturday. The game ends in a tie. It ends in a tie. Right. On Sunday, the overtime rules for a non-championship game. It's basically the college style. We put the ball on the 10-yard line, and you have 4 plays to score. If you score, you can go for 1 or go for 2. Your team, and then you switch. You're on offense, I'm on defense, and then defense and offense. Second overtime, we do it again, except this time you have to go for 2. You have to play for 2 in the second overtime. Third overtimes and ongoing, it's alternating extra points. So if we're still tied, Joey, playing for 1 or 2. We're going to play for 1, great, boom. You score, Andy, 1 or 2. You can go for the tie, you can go for the win. Done. And we just keep going back and forth. You can only kick for 1.
Yeah, you can play or kick for 1. You can go for 2.
All right. There are no timeouts on the third overtime going forward. Meaning that if you say I'm going to play for 1, or no, I'm going to go for 1. Okay, fine. You can play or kick. It's fine. You can't decide. No. Let's go for 2. Can't do it. Also, in any overtime period, turnovers are live. Turnovers are live. So in the third overtime, if I'm playing for 2 and somebody intercepts it and returns it 100 yards for a conversion, they get the 2 points and probably win the game.
Okay. I like it. I'm looking forward to this, gentlemen. This is going to be great.
I would recommend the coaches go to the 9-man flag website under files and download the rule book.
Yes. Please know the rules. Do not complain about 9-man needing to get rid of the onside kick.
Okay. Here's the big thing. And we won't do it this week because we're only a week away, but I will give you a preview. I'm pretty much looking at Atlantic City, where somebody from your team must take an abbreviated rules assessment, before I'll even talk to your team about rules. Because if you got nobody on there who knows them, then I don't need to talk to anybody.
I agree 100%, man. If you don't know the rules to this game, don't play it. Simple as that. You gotta
play it. Just don't argue about it.
100% agree on that. Yeah, trust me.
A rules challenge is $50. Understand this. There's some guy. Look, it's a $50 protest. And understand this part. And it's gonna sound funny, like I'm making an excuse before we even start, but that's not what I'm doing. We have guys from
other areas,
5 states refereeing this tournament. They don't always work together, and there are rules that are slightly different in different places of the country when it comes to 9-man. Kent is going to be at one location. Bonnie is going to be at a location. They may be at the same one or be at a different one, and I'm going to be at one. We're the final deciding factors on any of these questions. If you need to protest, we still have the Lewis challenge. Protest is a $50 challenge. Make sure you know your own rule that goes with that. But we're going to do what we have to make sure that the rule is administered correctly. We're not going to walk out in the middle of the field and don't do the can't come fix this all the time. That's not the way it works. But There's got to be conversations. The biggest thing is, and the first thing I'm going to tell our referees with this entire process is, put the play clock back on and let's go ahead and get into the next play. Because we want to give you as much game time, because while you're arguing, the clock is still running. We want to give you as much game time as we can. We want to give you as many plays as we can. That's up to you guys being able to line up and run the next play. So we're going to give as many options as possible for you to play as many plays as you can. You're down here to play football. We want to let you play football.
I guess my other question when it comes to officiating, you mentioned different rules and such. The Hagerstown tournament in 2018, the language rule we have up here in county was implemented. Will that be at Ocean City this year?
We have a. Go ahead, Andy.
There's always been a language rule. We have to protect our fields. If we're having it where people, especially in North, we're at a church school and an open park. At Northside Park, we are surrounded by old people who live there, who walk constantly around our fields. They think it's awesome to see the games, but they can't stand the drama that goes with it. So every year I have to make a full conversation with the Parks Department about what was said and what wasn't said when it comes to stuff on the field. If it's low key and everything seems to be going rather smoothly, nobody complains about it. But the first time that it's yelling loud enough that it's getting to the people walking the walkers around the field, it's going to get called, because we need it to be called. Otherwise, they're going to just sit there and say, we don't want you back here anymore. So
what we're talking about is the wide receiver who the quarterback doesn't throw the ball down the field. He's 80 yards down the field and he hollers back out. Okay. I'm fucking wide open. Okay. And from Lagoon Field, I can hear it on the main field. We're going to flag that. Okay.
We're not searching. We don't want to be the uniform police. We don't want to be the language police. We don't want to be any of that stuff.
No.
But we also don't want it to be that. Look, I almost got thrown out 3 years ago. They put me on a restriction 3 years ago because, honestly, the team that they were complaining about used "fuck" like a comma. Is the easiest explanation I had. At which point, thank God, the lady from the Parks Department was from Long Island, just like that team, and I said. She goes, I use "fuck" like a comma, and we smoothed it all over. But you have to understand that in NFL, yes, they can cuss as much as they want to, but if it's directed at anybody, they get in trouble and they get fined if they get caught on the microphones. In college football, it's a foul. In high school football, it's a foul. So we're trying to not hear this as much as we are trying to hear this. If we can avoid calling it, we're going to avoid calling it. But if it's loud enough that it's something we're going to get yelled about, we're going to call that. So that way we stop it as early as we can. And I'd rather call it a lot on Saturday so we don't have to call it at all on Sunday when it's sending somebody home.
Don't make the official call. It's that simple. Don't put the official in position to have to make that call. Find a new word. All right.
So that being said, it would have to be something where, let's say,
it's got to be egregious.
Like, say, egregious. Something similar to what happened a few weeks ago in a league I covered, where a player went on a rant and just used the F word every other word, and not just a case of where somebody drops the ball and yells out the F word.
Oh, that happens.
And understand that taunting is still a foul no matter where you're at.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter which word you use. Taunting is still a foul no matter where you're at.
Right. I will tell you this. The one thing about the art of trash talking has diminished greatly over a number of years. We used to have some great trash talkers. All right. Now, everything people think is trash talking is personal. They attack you personally. They attack your lineage. They attack your family. They talk about wife and kids. That's not trash talking. That's taunting. Trash talking is calling someone soft like Charmin, and then catching yourself telling them, no, you're not good enough for Charmin. You're more like Cottonelle. Okay.
See, that's why I always like the older guys and how you guys always are good at like with the trash talk. You guys definitely had it down back in the day.
Telling the official it's an illegal formation because I only have one person trying to block me. Okay. That's trash talking. Okay. Okay. Having a team tell me a kicker can kick the ball from 50 yards away, having the holder mess up the snap, and then having your defensive end say your kicker may be good from 50, but your holder sucks at 7. Okay.
I heard that in Florida this year.
Okay. That's
Fishing out the old school insults. I love it. I love it.
That's trash talking. Okay.
If you want to talk about somebody's game, go for it, but don't talk about their wife or their girlfriend or their kids or anything like that. That's all that's trying to do is set up a fight. That ain't worth it. Play football.
Not worth it. Play football.
Right.
Agreed, gentlemen. Agreed. Trying to think. I think that's about it on terms of questions on rules or anything. I guess, and for you, I would have to ask any new 9-man rules that people should know about that they may not have heard about yet.
We're running the same rule book from Nationals. So obviously shrooms are now the preferred flag belt. And that's the belt and the shrooms included. Don't be putting them shrooms on them triple threat flag belts. So if you've got,
do not wear triple threat flags at all if you're trying to win this tournament.
well, some teams, that's all they have. If you're wearing triple threats, then wear triple threats. I mean, not triple threats, excuse me. Hey, one too many concussions. Sonic Pops. Okay. The Sonic Pops are still okay. They're still an allowed flag belt. But if you're wearing a Sonic Pop, then it's the plastic flag belt. It's the Sonic Pop elbows and the Sonic Pop poppers. If you're using shrooms, then it's the shrooms flag belt. That's the nylon clip one with the shrooms elbow and the shrooms inserts. Don't mix and match. That will pull a foul.
Okay. I think that's about it on questions, gentlemen, on terms of information for this tournament. I keep thinking of more. I said that the first time about 45 minutes ago. But
I will tell you, one more rule that people might freak out about. Hurry up, offense. Your quarterback can spike the ball from the shotgun formation. They do not need to be under center. As long as everybody, and it's got to be catch and spike. You can't look and then throw it. No, it's catch and spike.
It's got to be first move. Catch it,
yep.
Boom.
Mm-hmm. And that coincides with a change in high school rules, which is why we put it in ours, because a lot of our officials also do high school, and it's easier to just follow that path.
Gotcha.
Hey Joey, can I tell you one more quick thing?
Yes, sir, Mr. Hoffman.
We have 3 of our officials who have worked Ocean City that are now in the NFL.
That is awesome. That's awesome. I love hearing that.
They're not coming back to work Ocean City anymore. So yeah, we're all still some trash, but we have 3 of our guys who ended up getting hired to be in the NFL. That's a hell of a thing.
Yeah. And we probably called a lot of those officials trash when I was playing.
Everybody's back at all times.
The refs are always terrible. The weather is always not as nice as it should be. It would be so much better in August. Can I go ahead and give you the list of complaints before we start?
Oh, hey, we should do a bingo card. Andy, let's do a bingo card. Okay. We'll do a bingo card at each field. Every time we hear a complaint, we check off the bingo card. And whoever wins the first round's on, got to buy me the first round.
My team's playing too early. My team's playing too late.
Why is A playing first? Why is B playing last?
Every year we flip it back and forth. B will play first next year, and A will finish last next year. We have some teams that end up choosing not to play every year on the years that the A bracket finishes last because they're afraid of getting home in time. We have this every year. I look forward to. I can pretty much tell you that the tournament, when I go down there on Friday, I'll be able to settle up what the dates are for the tournament for next year, because it's the last weekend in April every year.
Hey Joey, I know you have a story about Ocean City, don't you?
Lucky.
Oh, I was waiting for you to bring,
Oh,
bring this
We're
one
on
up.
the bar
Larry.
for that one.
Oh,
My
Yeah.
first Ocean City experience. Oh man. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to the Collins family, Ross and Catherine, for taking me in and letting me stay at Catherine's in-laws place with them for the weekend. That was mighty generous of them. Otherwise, I don't think I'd be able to go. And I never really had the money to go down there. I remember though, I had a great time that first tournament in 2019. So much so you saw what I showed in that documentary, how much I enjoyed that tournament. But despite the beginning and the middle being great, the ending was not so much for me. I was heading back from Ocean City that night after the Laney's and Maryland Bullets game. And I was riding up the road, munching on some chicken tenders and some fries from Royal Farms, while also talking on Bluetooth.
Were those tenders extra crispy? I'm just asking.
I didn't know, because as soon as I was about to start eating the tenders, I saw some sirens behind me.
Was the jelly extra crispy as well?
He was on the back.
Oh man. So I turned around and saw some sirens coming behind me, and I got pulled over, and the officer who pulled me over, he asked me to come out of the car. He asked if I had been drinking or anything. I told him no, because to me, it just kind of wasn't something I thought about. And then after I realized I told him no, I remembered Kent decided to give me vodka instead of the water I requested. And me being completely dry in my throat, ready to try to call a championship game, needing some water urgently, grabbed that huge glass that Kent poured for me, and I chugged that thing down, thinking that I was rehydrating myself. Instead, didn't quite work out well. And I'd already been in a bad spot by then, because I told the cop I hadn't been drinking. You're right, Ross. I hear sirens. You're right. You know what I mean.
Yeah. For you to hear a siren, that should have been your first recognition that you were fucked. Okay.
Yeah, if you see a siren, you pretty much fucked up at that point. There ain't much you can do about that one.
And it was my fault, because my fat ass was sitting there munching on chicken tenders and fries, just trying to eat my dinner. We lost Kent. Oh no. Oh, he's back. Okay.
I'm good.
Hey, one thing to remember: those sheriffs and everything else, there's a reason why the tax rates aren't very high on the Eastern Shore, is because they make enough money off of tickets. Please be careful driving over there. They look for out-of-state license plates. They look for rental car license plates, because they know if they give you a ticket, you're not coming back to fight it.
They're no joke down there. They really aren't, man. Like, they will get you if you mess up. Don't go. And my recommendation, fellas, I know some of you at home, you're used to going out, smoking out in the open and all that. It's a little different down there. The cops are a lot more strict. I learned that. I ended up getting pulled over. I took a breathalyzer. He noticed that I wasn't drunk enough. I was still under the limit, so I was good. Thanks, Kent. And he asked me to leave my car on Route 50, I think it's what the road is called. And I called Andy asking if I could, because the cop said to me, you got to go back to Ocean City and spend the night with your friend until you go back in the morning, sober up, and get your car back. Because he was thoroughly convinced I was drunk, which I wasn't. I was fine by that point, but he noticed it on my breath. I blanked like an idiot, not thinking about it, because it just was a minor moment at that time to me. I ended up getting taken back to OC. He ended up chasing after a car with West Virginia plates. Careful, Spartans. They are going to look. And he dropped me off at a 7-Eleven before I called an Uber and got myself back to my car to get back home. Crazy, man. It was a crazy night. But I'm just telling y'all, be careful, fellas. I know some of you all, it's not like home. It's a little different down there. Be safe, be smart.
But have fun. I don't think we lost Joey.
Does that mean we can take over now, Ken?
I guess. I mean,
Yeah, be careful. If you're going down on Thursday, be careful because this guy's driving across the Bay Bridge.
okay.
Well, we figured out with Michael as he's getting ready to go for senior week that him and none of his friends have ever driven across the Bay Bridge or on the Beltway.
Oh, you're back, Joey. Okay.
Hey, there's Joey. He froze again. So,
Yeah, dude, this hotel internet is not the best.
What, are you out there already?
no.
Are you in a hotel?
What's that? What's that, Kent?
Are you out there already, or are you going to use somewhere else?
No, I'm in Culpeper traveling for my new job.
Oh, well, congratulations on the new job.
He took time.
You out there in Culpeper, boy. Woo.
Thanks. It's okay. Yeah, I gotta go from Culpeper to Harrisonburg tomorrow. And then Thursday I'm driving back from Harrisonburg to Boonesboro. And then Friday I'm going to Ocean City.
Why driving?
It's a
Are
shorter
you getting,
drive.
are you getting mileage on your car, or are they giving you a company car?
They're reimbursing me on mileage and
Nice.
everything else. So I'm good there. Yeah. Yeah, they're also paying me a couple extra dollars an hour for the travel and all that. The hotel is paid for by the company. Shout out to them. Yeah, so the Wi-Fi is a little spotty tonight, unfortunately. We had a fine last night, but we've had issues all night tonight. I think it's the third time I've been kicked out and had to reconnect.
Well,
I don't
if
know
your
what the last
job
one
has
you
you
heard was,
traveling,
but
make sure you join all the hotel reward programs and rack up those points.
Rack 'em up.
I'm gonna have to keep that in mind, but they're the ones who book for me, so I can't
It
quite
doesn't
get
matter.
the points. That's the only
Yeah,
problem.
no, that's fine. When you check in, give them your rewards number and they will get you the points. They give the points to the person who's staying there. Don't worry about
Okay,
it.
I'll keep that in mind for next time.
Absolutely. Join before you leave
Yeah.
tomorrow.
And with the way I've been traveling lately,
Yeah. Believe me, when I traveled,
yeah,
the rental car rewards and the hotel rewards, I didn't pay for nationals for 3 years. I just, so.
Uh-oh.
yeah. I have to keep that in mind. Thanks for the heads up, Kent. Other than that, about it, gentlemen. It was good talking to you all tonight.
Good talking to you. We'll get together
What's
on
that?
Friday night. Come up to the bar.
Huh? I'll be at the bar on
I'm
Friday.
free Friday night. Let's hit the bar.
I'll be up there. I'll be leaving here as soon as my
Bar.
class is done and I can pick up Bonnie at work. So,
I'll head in there
Yeah,
first thing Friday morning. We'll see you gentlemen there. Ocean City kicking off Saturday. We'll be live the next 2 nights. Till then, I'm Joey Blaze for Andy Hoffman, Drew Hoffman, and Kent Page saying good night. We'll see you at the beach.